I slipped my gloves on. Quickly, we all sprayed ourselves in mask scent. The scent is perfume and it does exactly what it's called. It masks our scents, so we can hide without being smelt. Unless it's your mate, you would be able to smell your mate from miles away. They could even smell you when you are wearing the mask. So, I smirked at Haley. I could see her black mask move as she raised an eyebrow. Yes? You and Mike? I nodded my head at Mike, who was loading his uniform with weapons. Her eyes widened and her mouth dropped. How? Oh, shush. I cut her off. Mates? Yeah. She smiled a little smile. Adorable, I chuckled before glancing at the clock. All right, everybody loaded, I asked, referring to the weapons. Everybody is skilled in something. Agility, strength, speed, dagger throwing, aiming, etc. We were ready. Leader Allie stepped into the room. She had a plan and also information. We have several Lunas and Alphas attending this ceremony. Rouges would die to get into this gathering. Now if they try, that's exactly what they're going to do. She mumbled, her dead eyes flickered to me. My mom stood behind her, a frown set on the lips I had inherited. Names, I stated. Was that a question or a demand? Allie narrowed her eyes. Demand. My voice didn't waver. Rude of me to speak up like that, huh? Nah. Luna Cass and Alpha Eric. Luna Jasmine and Alpha Chance. Our old Luna and Alpha, and our soon-to-be new ones. Her voice was dead, but I didn't care. If anything strange is noticed, then you will address me. Positions will be given to you by Callie. As always, I was in charge. Move out, I yell. Everybody paired up in twos. Jenna was my partner. We all opened the door that leads straight into the woods. The door that you can only open from the inside clicked shut. There's no going back now. We moved in silence. The woods are our safe place. We know every covered path, every scratch in the rough tree bark. The sun was gone, leaving the moon's light to guide us. Though our vision was so advanced, we didn't need the sun or the moon's light. Our light breathing clouded with every exhale. Adrenaline pumped through us. I couldn't help the small smile that spread across my lips. Rouge's attack, lights go out, I messaged using our mind link. Yes, ma'am, they responded back in a hushed monotone. Once we reached the building where the ceremony was being held, we gathered. Jenna and I are above the stage, Haley and Lacey in the wings. Each one of you must protect the Alphas. Mike and Emily in the trees out front. Don't stop circling. Good luck, Tap? They nodded. We all shook hands, then tapped each other on the shoulders. Ready? I asked, looking at them. Of course. Bon chance. And we were off. Jenna, Haley, Lacey, and I slipped through the back door. We locked it after we got in. I did a quick check to make sure it was clear. Let's go. I motioned for Jenna to follow my lead. I took my gloves off, placing them in my pocket before extending my nails and climbing the wall. Jenna followed. Right or left? She asked once we got onto the metal that held the light up. You're right, I'm left. I wanted to be above Madison. Rouge's are simple creatures. Go for the Luna, she's less likely to kill you. Also, taking or killing the Luna would slowly kill the Alpha. It goes the other way around too, but the Alpha won't even think about sparing your life. I watched the lighting techs. They were messing with the light buttons, setting everything up and getting ready for the ceremony. They were completely focused on what's happened on the stage with the lights. Soon they returned to the crowd, so watched the ceremony. We were completely quiet. Nodded my head at Jenna, she nodded back. Eyes on the leaders. I demanded. Yes, ma'am. I watched Cass and Eric take a seat. A frown touched my lips. They were good friends of April and Asher. I've met them more than once, though they weren't together when I met them. I don't know if April and Asher are aware of this. More people filled in. We continued to scan the crowds for anything suspicious. Anything? I asked Emily and Mike. Nada, Mike answered. Nothing yet, Emily whispered back in the mind link. I don't know why she whispers. It's just a bad habit she is accustomed to. Don't slack, I demanded. I focused back on our job. The ceremony had already started. Madison was in a flawless white dress. Her dirty blonde hair looped in curls. Jeremy looked flawless as ever. I listened a little to their speeches. Soon they called Dallas and Isaac up to the stage. Isaac's scent hit me like a brick wall. Rain and woods. The scent was mouth-watering to me. As he walked up the steps, he started looking around. At one point, he even looked up. There's no way he smells me. I did a mental check. I put the mask scent on. I know I did. I watched as Isaac shook his head and focused again. A smile only slightly tugging at the sides of his lips. I couldn't stop my heart from thumping in my chest. His scent was mouth-watering, amazing, and sweet. His green eyes could hold a killer in place. They were so capturing. That was a terrible reference. I am a killer. Found tracks just along the inside of the woods. They're wearing mask scent, Emily reported, snapping me out of my thick thoughts. Report to Allie, then I want you to move in closer. Stop them before they get here, I ordered. Slowly I creeped up a little more. I was deadly silent. I couldn't risk being caught. Watch them, I demanded Lacey and Haley. Yes ma'am, they chanted back. What pack are they from? Jenna questioned, nodding her head towards a small group of ragtag people. Inside, I mentally moaned. Great. People stood up roaring with claps and whistles. They chanted and yelled with joy. The ceremony was almost over. Now would be the time too. There we go. I watched as the group pushed through the crowd, pushing and shoving to reach the front of the stage. Move in. I stood up, cracking my neck. Lights out, I yelled. Loud click as Jenna turned the lights off echoed. It went from chants to pure silence. Our packs are smart. They knew danger lurked. It was best that they stayed quiet, and they knew that. Move in. I ordered, my eyes quickly adjusted. Like a stealthy cat, Jenna and I tracked down the long metal bars before thrusting ourselves into the air. We landed with a slight thud, watched as everybody stood still. Haley, Lacey, Jenna, and I moved towards the Rouges. We didn't go very far. Staying close to the leaders was a good tactic. It was about 8 Rouges, an easy kill. Save one, I mumble in the mind link. For the Alpha. Now, gather the leaders and get them out of here. A Rouge moved towards me, even more determined. Now that we know they're here. I moved towards him. He didn't even notice. With a sick laugh, grabbed his arm, twisting it behind his back. He screamed. I felt the pack move away. What part of Lights Out did you not understand? I hiss, wrapping my hand around his throat. I held it until I felt his body slack. I grabbed his foot, I dragged him towards the wing. I lay his body there. Lacey added another Rouge. 2 down. My eyes scanned the dark room. I watched as people clenched their eyes closed and stood perfectly still. The leaders were all gathered on the stage. Jeremy was mumbling something under his breath. I shook my head before spotting another moving rogue. I silently moved towards him. He shoved through pack members. Quickly, I grabbed his head, twisting it. His skin felt warm through my gloves. I felt my heart jump when a dirty hand wrapped around my mouth. Gross. You're messing everything up, he hissed into my ear. His breath fanned my face. Can I just say, this is terrible. I might throw up after this. Oh man, don't throw up. Don't do it. Be strong. Quickly, I bit the filthy hand. He screamed, pain. I quickly turned around and kicked him where his sun doesn't shine. Amateur move, but it works. Kicked him again, and again. While spitting on his deformed, cropped figure, he tasted like trash. Oh man, that was horrible. Never again. I kicked the horrible Rouge again, before dragging both of the bodies to the now huge pile. Are we done? I asked, as all of the demons gathered around the pile. One Rouge struggled in Lacey's tight grip, but we each grabbed 1 or 2 and carried them over to the door. All of the leaders gathered around, including Jeremy's parents. That was horrible, Madison whispered, her eyes glued to the pile of limp, lifeless bodies. What are you guys? Peter Alley opened the back door. A group of men grabbed the Rouge's bodies and took the struggling Rouge, also our captive, and left. These Luna Madison are the speed demons of the pack. Madison's lips twitched when she heard our name. It was pretty funny, but our job is very serious. The name is a part of our history, Jenna mumbled. Lacey was quiet, her soft pink lips sealed. Her sister would recognize her voice immediately if she spoke. What do y'all do? Jeremy asked, raising an eyebrow. We are the assassins and spies of the pack, I mumbled. Madison's eyes flickered to me. We are under your control, I finished. May we know who you are? Luna Cass asked. You may, but not here. Leader Allie spoke, her voice bold. Follow us, I demanded. They might be our Alpha and Luna, but at the moment they are completely clueless. All right. Jeremy nodded. The rest of the leaders were silent. Most already know the procedure of speed demons. We must go now. Luna Jasmine spoke, startling a couple of people. Our pack will start to worry. Alpha Chance mumbled, his deep voice full of authority. All right, Alpha Eric. Luna Cass? Haley asked, stepping forward. Yes, we will follow you. They nodded. Wonderful. We all nodded and circled around the group. 2 by 2 we walked through the door. Dark woods waited for us. Did Isaac make it out? The thought made my body turn rigged. This entire thing was new to Madison and Jeremy. Both were completely engrossed in everything we did. I could only dread their reactions when I take off my mask. So, you're like personal assassins, Madison questioned. Her eyebrows knitted together, creating a puzzled look. Basically, Lacey let out an exasperated sigh. Oh my goddess, Madison yelled. Lacey? I put my hands on the meeting table. The black polished marble was cold against my burning skin. Let's not be too irrational, I mumbled. We will unmask ourselves. Leader Allie stepped up. Her eyes watched the Alphas and Lunas with great caution. You cannot tell anybody who they are. She tightened her lips into a flat line. Their identities will forever remain a mystery. Am I understood? She asked once again. Yes, the leaders responded, anticipation laced throughout their voices. Now that we are on the same page, they will unmask. Allie nodded at me. We will start with contacts, I mumbled, pulling my gloves off and placing them on the table. I felt nervous for some reason. Though I have never been a fan of Madison's thin, healthy life, she was still my Luna. We all slowly removed the contacts, our eyes changing back to their regular color. I blinked a few times. The air felt dry and strange now. Now we will unmask, I mumbled again, reached back and untied the mask. It slipped into my hands, revealing my face. The other copied my action. Madison and Jeremy's eyes scanned our faces, recognition flooding their features. Lacey, you're a killer? Madison whispered. We've all accepted what we are, so it didn't surprise me when she responded back with a yes. Allie, Mike, Madison seemed extremely shocked. How do you become a speed demon? Jeremy asked. His eyes sparkled with interest. It's genetic. I spoke slowly. Haley, Jenna, and Emily were obviously off the hook. Genetic? Madison hissed. Who did you get this gene from, Lacey? Grandma, Lacey mumbled back in response. I glanced at her. She looked completely calm. Callie? My mother. I snipped. Can you tell how touchy I am with this subject? Lacey, you're only 14, Madison yelled, throwing her hands up, adding a dramatic flair. Been doing this since I was 12, Lacey whispered. She was the youngest speed demon we have. She was like me, an early half-shifter. The others are newer. Mike and Haley are already able to fully shift. I'm still baffled that I have never noticed them before. You've killed people. Madison shook her head. I can't let you do this. It's not up to you. Lacey let out a giggle. Might get Kate. She won't, I butt in, putting my opinion in the conversation and earning a glare from my mom. She's protected, and if any of us die, we died doing something we love. Madison's eyes flickered over to me. Jeremy looked completely amused. Killing people? She hissed lowly. Is something you love? Considering we have saved your ass more than once, I would say yes. Saving people by killing people is something we love. I rolled my eyes. What will your mates think about this? She shook her head at us. I glanced at Haley and Mike, their hands interlaced. My heart broke at the thought of maybe never having that. It's rare that we find our mates, I whispered. Sometimes we do, and most of the time we don't. Can you quit? Jeremy asked. Yeah, but that would be like you stepping down from position. We are born to be a speed demon. Mike stepped forward, his hand still grasped Haley's. Interesting. I don't like this. Madison snapped, slamming her foot down, her white dress clenched in her balled-up fist. You don't have to. Lacey rolled her eyes. I was fighting to hold back a laugh. I found this funny. Siblings were constantly at each other's throats. Now that I think about it, I found it strange when Asher and April never really bickered. It's not up to you. Doesn't Mom know? Nope. Madison pinched her lips together. Everybody is dismissed, she hissed lowly. I wasn't going to argue. I left the meeting room and went to the changing room. Others followed me, except for Lacey, who was still arguing with her sister. Silently, I thanked the moon goddess that I was an only child. I can't wait to get out of this tight suit. Jenna sighed, unzipping the back. I lost some really good daggers tonight. Emily sighed, also taking her suit off. Ah, Emily hissed. Callie, can you get my hair out of the zipper? Sure, I laughed, walking over to where she was. Thank you. Emily's brown hair was stuck. This happens almost every time she's wearing her suit. I'm gonna chop my hair off, she mumbled, crossing her arms. You should, I laughed, slowly removing her hair from the zipper. Yeah, but I've been growing it out, and you don't want to cut off all your hard work. Jenna pitched in, finishing her sentence. This isn't the first time she's complained about her hair. It's best you cut it. Haley mumbled, raking her hand through Emily's hair. Done, I smiled. Emily turned around and returned the smile. Sure. She shook her head. Take my suit off and change into leggings and a hoodie. I grabbed my Uggs, slipping them on. I throw my blonde hair up into a messy blonde bun, and I bid my goodbyes. I'm out. I throw a peace sign in the air before pushing the back door open. I was met with the chilly air of the ending winter. It's almost spring, but it was still cold. I left my car in the parking lot. I'll just walk home tonight. I thought the fresh air would do me good. I sighed and rubbed my hands together. It wasn't that cold, but it gave me chill bumps. Even though I was part wolf, and my body temperature was a few degrees above humans, I am still only half shifted. I sighed, then cringed as I watched my clouded breath drift away behind me. My Uggs thumped against the ground, crunching the fallen, lifeless leaves. Some would cringe at the sound, and if I was on a mission, my mother would surely question my rank. I am not like others. The leaves crunching reminds me that I am still human. Maybe not all the way, but I do have mortal blood in me. Considering I was taught to be completely silent, the fact that I could make that noise gave me much comfort. Part of me envied April, my best friend. She had a future, a mate, a sound, a family. My life doesn't really matter in the moon goddess's eyes. April had always thought I despised the goddess due to the fact that my father went MIA. That wasn't the cause for my anger. I don't mind being a speed demon, but why can't I have a mate? I mean, I know I could potentially have a mate, but I could also potentially be meatless. April's destiny was locked when her skin touched Asher's. They were born for each other. I was born to die. Why couldn't I have lived out my life? Be a speed demon is literally signing your death certificate. I, sadly, have signed it. The pack grounds were silent. Usually the pack would have a party or a BBQ get-together, but considering we were attacked, the pack will be locked inside their homes all night. Wind picked up, blowing the stray blonde hair that wasn't tucked into my bun in my face. Oh wow, I whispered, wrapping my arms around myself. Maybe I should have took baby home today. I silently regret my decision to walk. The sound of a stick cracking alerted me. I paused and stopped walking. I felt my ears strain as I listened for another sound. The night fell into a thick, dark silence. The sudden noise of leaves cracking made my eyes shift colors, and my teeth extend as I took my stance. Inhaled the night air. My heart skipped a beat as the familiar scent of rain and woods hit me like a mouth-watering brick. It was of no surprise when his sweet voice shattered the night's silence. For a human, your senses are excellent, Isaac laughed. Nothing gets past you, huh? I laughed, closing my eyes and calming myself. I retracted my teeth and felt my eyes go back to their normal blue color before I turned around, looked straight at Isaac. His green eyes searched my body. Not really. No. Isaac's lips turned up into a heart-clenching smirk. A completely new Isaac. I rolled my eyes at his childish but cute behavior. I didn't just call it cute, did I? Great. I'm talking to myself. do you want? I crossed my arms and leaned against a tree. Well, he started. I was on my way to go finish packing up April's stuff. My jaw clenched. I already miss April. And? I snipped, feeling my heart explode. What? I asked, quirking an eyebrow. What does he mean by lock themselves in their room? Isaac's smirk fell as he glared at me. Let me finish, he snapped back. I bit my lip before nodding from him to continue. April didn't leave on good terms. They feel like they have lost their only daughter. He shook his head. Though if you ask me, they're being hard-headed assholes. Took a deep breath before continuing. April left a bunch of stuff, and so did Asher. I'm moving into April's room, and I'm moving the rest of her stuff in Asher's old room. I need help. And, he smiled at me. You asking if I can help you move stuff? I smirked at a blushing Isaac. Well, unless there's somebody else wandering around the woods alone, then yeah, I am. His lips turned up into a smirk again. Well, hopefully I am the only person. Aside from you. Who is in the woods? I shrugged and pushed off the tree. Yeah, why are you in the woods at 11 p.m.? He growled. His smirk dropped again. I dropped mine. I didn't appreciate the change of attitude. Walking home, why does it matter? I snapped. I might seem slightly bipolar, but I swear Isaac is. Isaac's bright green eyes darken. He obviously didn't like me talking to him like that. Whatever. It matters because you're my. He took a deep breath. Never mind. Oh, tell me, I demanded, taking steps closer to him. He growled at my movement and copied me. I was a breath away from his now. My hands had found their way to my hips, and a scowl crawled out of the depths of hell and settled on my face. No. Yes. It doesn't matter, he growled, moving his face slightly closer to mine. Our lips were close. I could feel his minty breath fan against my face. The urge to slam my lips to his was sickeningly terrible. I wanted nothing more but to close this gaping hole between us. Of course I wouldn't. Yes, it does. I mumbled lowly, not backing down. He sighed before taking a step back. I felt slightly disappointed at the now humongous hole between us. It doesn't matter, you're here. Will you help me? He asked, running his hand through his dark chestnut hair. Sure, I shrugged. Why didn't you just ask? I smirk, then start walking to Isaac's house. What am I to him? What is this pull I feel? Glanced behind me. I catch Isaac's bright green eyes. A smile touched his full lips, making my heart flutter. What am I going to do?
We walked in silence, our tiny argument lost, but the tension still lingered. So, we have to be as quiet as possible, Isaac whispered once we reached his back door. He reached into his pocket and let out a silent curse. I giggled before taking a step down and picking up a little angel statue. No, the key wasn't under the angel, but inside the angel. There was a huge gaping hole in the bottom of the hollowed angel. Inside that hole was the key. That's kind of creepy. He trailed off, his green eyes watching my every move. I basically lived here, Isaac. At one point, I did live here. I mumbled, walking back up the steps and unlocking the door. Why do we have to be quiet? I asked, referring to his previous statement. John and Grace, it's rough. They probably won't want to see you, he whispered. I pushed the door open, but didn't walk in. Should I leave? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Oh, April left stuff, he mumbled, rubbing the back of his head. Undergarments? I laughed slightly. Yeah, those. He smiled down at me. A light blush graced his perfect features. Be like a secret assassin. I winked at Isaac before stepping into the warm house. Aren't they loud? He questioned. No, they're silent, I whispered, not even caring that I gave hints about my position. He wouldn't understand it. Would you know? He questioned, following me and closing the door. He turned the lock, trapping us both inside the practically empty house. It's common sense, I mumbled before slipping my Uggs off. I tracked through the house and up the stairs where April's door was first. I pushed the door open. Her light blue wall reminded me of the good times. I sighed before stepping in. It still smelled like her. I sounded like a creeper, but she was my best friend, my sister, my go-to, my ride or die. Empty boxes littered the room. Some of April's stuff was scattered on the floor. Her dresser drawers were still sealed shut. I couldn't help but chuckle at this. "All right," I mumbled before pulling a drawer open. Some of April's old bras and underwear were still in the wooden boxes. Man, why couldn't she take those with her? Isaac sighed before he sat on the ground. She probably didn't fit into them anymore. I rolled my eyes. "Hand me a box." His eyes flickered to a box before he picked it up and handed it to me. "Thank you," I mumbled, taking handfuls of clothes and stuffing them into the cardboard box. Isaac started putting April's old books in a different box. I opened a different drawer and found a pair of jeans. I put the jeans in the box. She didn't leave much clothes, but she didn't take them all with her. Isaac and I worked in silence. It wasn't weird or awkward, but nice, maybe even peaceful. "Is there stuff in the closet?" I asked, placing the now full box on the messed up bed. "Yeah," he grumbled, picking up the box full of books. Puts the heavy box next to mine on the bed, then sits next to it. The bed bounces under his weight. "Okay," I mumbled, picking up another box. "Are you going to paint?" I asked, walking into April's closet. "Nope," he sighed as he stood up. "Why not?" I asked, grabbing a few shirts and putting them in the box. "I don't plan on being here long. I want to start a life with my mate and have our own place." He smiled at me, his eyes sparkled. "Oh," I whispered, disappointment flooding my features. "You found your mate?" I asked. "Yeah, he has a mate." "Oh, wow. Yeah, of course he has a mate. He's not like me." "That sounds amazing." I mumbled, my heart literally shattering as I said this. "Yeah, what about you?" he asked, grabbing a couple shirts and putting them in my box. Without thinking straight, I blurted, "Oh no, I don't have a mate." I dropped the box as I realized what I had just inferred. "Of course you do." Isaac laughed, bending over to pick the box up. "No," I sighed. I felt comfortable with Isaac to the point where I feel like I could tell him bits and pieces, just not all of it. Which is funny because he was a total ass for the past few weeks. "I don't have a mate. Everybody has a mate." He laughed, shaking his head. "Unless they die." "You're right," I sighed, grabbing the box away from Isaac. "I just don't believe I have one." "Why not? Don't you want a mate?" he asked. His voice was a little edgy, like he was on the verge of snapping at me. "Of course I want a mate. I just don't know if my mate would want me." I shrugged my shoulders. "He does. How could he not? Your scent is beautiful. You're beautiful," Isaac whispered. I hardly heard him. If I wasn't half shifted, I probably wouldn't have heard him. "What?" I asked. He jumped slightly. "You heard me?" he asked, looking down at me. "No, I hardly even said that." He laughed it off. "Those senses. Stay on topic. Did you just call me beautiful?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "I don't think your mate would appreciate you calling other girls pretty," I mumbled, rolling my eyes at the obvious playboy. "Yeah, other girls. But you? I don't think she'll mind." He smirked, leaning against the now empty wall. It doesn't work like that." I rolled my eyes again. "Callie," he whispered. My eyes shot up to his sparkly green ones. "What?" I whispered back, my heart picking up to an untraceable rate. "Can I kiss you?" he whispered, grabbing the box away from my hands and placing it on the floor. My heart exploded. I want to kiss him. So bad. "No, you have a mate." I scoffed before turning around. He really wasn't helping my head ache, which hasn't gone away. It's only 50 million ones worse. "I know I have a mate," he laughed, taking a step closer to me, glared at him, and took a step back. Much to my disappointment, not really. He had cornered me. "Curse this small closet. Go kiss your mate," I hiss, feeling as though my heart had been shot. My head pounded, and his little tugging kept nagging me, and I was ready to completely combust and cry. "Okay," he smirked at me before his lips crashed down on mine. Sparks danced on my skin. My body tingled in places it had never tingled before. I felt my body temperature rise, and I instantly responded to the kiss. I pressed my lips against his harder. I felt my hands reach his hair. I grabbed a fistful of his hair and tugged, causing him to let out a sexy moan. He pulled away. He took a deep breath before looking at me. "Goddess, I'm so glad my assumptions were right, because that would have been weird." He laughed, before leaning down and pecking my lips again. I was speechless. I did have a mate. It was Isaac. Wow, the clues were all there. I feel like a damn ass. "I thought you still haven't shifted yet?" Isaac whispered, pecking my lips again. "I haven't. It happens as soon as you come in contact with your mate," he mumbled, shaking his head. "My wolf, he's ecstatic." He pulled away, looking into my now changing eyes. I felt them turn from their normal blue to a dark, dark blue. Everything cleared up even more. My claws extended, and my teeth sharpened. I was shifting, slowly. I haven't hit the painful part. "You're what?" Isaac mumbled, stepping away. I figured it would be best to fake it. I dropped to my knees in fake pain. I started clawing at my hair and face. I let pressed back tears fall from my eyes. "Oh my goddess," I whispered, until the fake pain turned into a real pain. I felt my body being lifted off of the closet floor. My tears are real now. My body started to rack with waves of pain as I shifted. I was waiting for the snap of my spine that let out the wolf gene. My mind started racing. What if my shift is different? Will he know? Isaac's my mate? I have a mate? Napi.
I could feel my body changing, shifting into my wolf. I could feel the cold air hit my body that was currently pressed against Isaac's. I couldn't process the new information. I did have a mate, and he's my best friend's brother. What would my mother say? Would she approve of the third in command? Would April approve? All of my senses sharpened beyond the point of my knowledge. I could hear leaves dying. I could hear the rapping beating of Isaac's heart. This was so much more better than a half shift. I felt so alive, yet so dead. I was finally shifting. I could feel my bones moving and breaking. I'm sure it would hurt worse if I was not already half a wolf. Another wave of pain hit as my ribs broke and reformed. Isaac placed me on the cold ground and kneeled beside me. His warm hand trailing over my body, sparks chased after his finger as he etched designs against my skin. I could hear him whispering and attempting to soothe me. Nothing was working. The searing pain was enough to put me in an unsettling state of mind. Finally, the pain started to subside, and I was starting to turn into a wolf. My wolf stood up on all four legs. The cold winter wind blew through my fur. I couldn't help the shiver that raced down my spine. I exhaled, watching my cloudy breath disappear into the cold night. Every sound seemed to touch my ears. I looked at Isaac. His green eyes watched me with curiosity. His face was stiff and emotionless. Not that I was expecting anything different. The only thing that gives away Isaac's emotion is his eyes. My stomach felt weird. It sunk as I realized I did have a mate. Did I even think of the cons of having a mate? All I thought about was the pros. He would reject me if he knew I was a killer. He's killed too, my wolf whispers. Though this thought was true, I've killed more. How did the moon goddess pair us together? Two dominant wolves, together. He wants a family, and I need my job. I can't be the female third in command. How would I ever be able to fit that role? You're beautiful, Isaac breathed out. His green eyes followed my every movement, gave him a wolf smile. I didn't want to lose my other half. The moon goddess provided a mate for me, something very rare. Do you want to shift back? He bent down to be eye level with me. My heart skipped a beat when his breath fanned my face. I nodded quickly and thanked the goddess he couldn't see my blush. "I'll go get some clothes for you," he smirked before standing up and disappearing. Sat and looked around. The woods were so much more prettier in the dark. I couldn't help but admire everything. Having a connection to the woods was like having a connection to a life source. I wouldn't trade this for the world. "Back," Isaac mumbled, placing the clothes on the ground. A slightly blush sprinkled his cheeks as he turned around. "Aw, awkward much?" Quickly I shifted back and put on the clothes he got me. The garments matched. This is the first time my underwear and bra matched. Ever. "Okay, I'm done." I sighed, feeling the expected ache of my muscles and bones. There's always aftermath to everything you do. Every action has an equal reaction. "You want something to eat or drink?" Isaac asked, turning back around to face me. "Yes, but I can get it myself," I whispered, twisting a little to crack my back. I watched as he observed me. "That's still weird." He shrugged before reaching out to grab my hand. Little sparks danced on my skin. It felt so nice. I couldn't describe it without calling it my new addiction. "I've lived here longer than you." I rolled my eyes and scoffed, walked back up to his house. Our Grace and John's house. His hand never left mine, and I couldn't help the smile that spread across my lips. "You should stay the night," he mumbled, opening the front door. I bit my lip and sighed. It's not like my mom would come home. "All right, great," Isaac laughed a little. He pulled me into the warm house. The homey feeling was amazing. Maybe that's why I liked coming here. I let go of Isaac's warm hand and found my way to the fridge. Grabbing the tea in a cup, I took a seat at their kitchen table. Isaac sat across from me, his face set in stone. I took a sip of the tea I poured. A little slurping noise made me put the cup down. I blushed from the unattractive noise. "You want a straw?" Isaac asked, already standing up. "A straw?" I questioned, raising my eyebrow. Why would I need or want a straw? As if reading my mind, he patted my shoulder and opened a cabinet, grabbing a green straw. "It helps with slurping, plus, straws make everything fun," he chuckled, placing the green tube in my tea. "Interesting." I didn't argue, I just pulled the top of the straw, stretching it, and processed to drink. Not a noise. "Is your real name Isaac?" I asked, pushing my now empty glass aside. "No," he laughed, "it's Isaiah." My heart dropped. Isaiah? That name was perfect. "Oh wow," I gasped. "Yeah, dorky, right?" He smirked at me before taking my cup and filling it with water. "Drink some water. Shifting for the first time will drain you of your energy." "All right, and it's not dorky." I smiled, taking the glass of water from him. "I like it. You'd be the first. I'm going to start calling you Isaiah." I sipped my water. He was right. Water felt more replenishing than tea. "Then I'm going to start calling you Cal." His smirk deepened as he sat back in his chair. His muscles flexed as he did so. "That's fine," I smirked back, finishing my water. "So, why did you hate me?" I went ahead and asked. "Heck, why not? I didn't want to. But it's like my wolf was trying to decide if he wanted to take you on." He shook his head. "Dare I say it, he was afraid of you." I flinched. His wolf knew what I was. "Oh, why did you accept me then?" "As much as he feared you. He loved being with you. Your scent was enough to drive me and him through a wall. We both saw something worth fighting for." I made an O shape with my mouth. "I'm not worth it," I whispered, looking down. "You are. I have dark secrets. Don't we all?" I looked at him. His eyes softened when they met mine. "Don't fall for him. Give this a chance," he asked me. His hand reached out, touching mine. I took a deep breath. "This is what I want." "Okay. Keep him at arm's length. He doesn't need to know." "Good." He smiled, standing up. "Let's go to bed." My heart jumped again. What were the sleeping armaments? Does he want to share a bed? I started messing with hem of the t-shirt he gave me. Once we got upstairs, Isaiah opened his door and smiled at me. I walked in, but was tugged back. "I'll be in the other room if you need me," he whispered close to my ear. Taking my hand, he placed a light kiss on it. I watched in awe as he stepped back and closed the room door. Isaiah, my wolf was insanely restless. I woke up, once again, might I add. A debate was alive in my head as I did this. You could say you had a nightmare. He's your mate. Wouldn't he want to cuddle with you? Maybe, but he's hated me for a couple weeks now. Only because of Taka. Taka? His wolf? Yeah, and he wouldn't have been like that if we were normal. Whatever. I rolled around in bed, the sheets wrapping around my legs and constricting them like a snake. My blonde hair seemed to be scratchy against my neck. I moaned when my phone busted out into its loud ringtone. Reluctantly, I reached over to pick up my phone. Hello? I mumbled, rubbing my eyes. Allie, we have a code too. Mom's voice came through the speaker. What's up with all the rouges lately? I hiss, feeling my chest swell with anger. I'm going to fucking kill them all, I growled, slamming my phone down. I don't know where I slammed it, all I know is that it's gone. We're having a meeting tomorrow, I yelled, knowing she was still on the phone, wherever my phone may be. I didn't waste any time. I pried the window open and climbed out onto the window. Like a leap of faith, I jumped. Jumping out of this window was nothing new, so maybe it was more of a routine instead of leap of faith. I landed on the ground, not even making a single sound. I started walking when I realized I didn't have to walk. I ran, the wind whipped my hair back, and in a single movement I jumped in the air and shifted into my wolf. I didn't waste a second. I was darting between trees and dodging branches. I felt alive and free. This freedom was like nothing I've ever felt. Nothing blurred. I could see everything. I felt like Bella from Twilight when she had finally changed and went hunting with Edward. The little dewdrops hanging off of leaves, the bugs, the trees, and the sounds. Oh, the beautiful sounds. Finally, our small hospital came into view. I did a lap around to the back of the building once I reached it. I shifted back and knocked on the door. The door flew back, revealing my mother. The black bags under her eyes told me she's been here all night. Part of me felt bad for my mom. She lost her mate. When she lost my dad, she also lost any affection she held for me. Why are you nude? She questioned, raising an eyebrow. Shifted tonight. I mumbled, pushing past her and jogging down to the changing room. I pulled out my leather suit and slipped it on. Zip me up, please, I called, feeling my mom's ice-cold fingers graze my skin as she zipped up the back. I slipped on my gloves and tied a mask around my eyes. I walked over to the weapon table. I scanned the clean weapons until I found a silver-tipped dagger. I put a case around the blade so the silver didn't burn me. I grabbed a pistol and loaded it with tinny silver bullets. I grabbed a sword and slipped it and its satchel around my shoulder like a sash. I grabbed the mask scent and sprayed myself. How did you shift? My mom asked. Mate, I mumbled before tying my hair back into a ponytail. I sighed before turning around to face her. Luck tap and I'm out, I said. She nodded. We shook hands and tapped each other's shoulders. Ready? Of course. Bon chance, she whispered. A gave me a small smile. We'll talk later, she patted my shoulder. Your location is the east border. Okay? I turned around and walked to the exit. I frowned. A wave of loss and depression hit me. Will I ever get my mom's affection again? It was almost morning. I literally had an hour to finish the job. I'm killing them. No doubt about that. They're dead. I took a deep breath and left the building. I didn't waste a second. I started running towards the east border as soon as my foot hit the grass. It didn't take me long before I reached the place where Rouges had trespassed. I could see their campfire. I pulled my dagger out. I silently got closer. I then grabbed a tree branch and lifted myself up with ease. Jumped from tree to tree until I was almost directly over them. I watched them huddled around a fire. A small family. A little girl who looked about the age of 5, a frazzled, dirty-looking mom, and a tired-looking dad. Mommy! The girl tapped on her mom's arm. Yes, baby? The mom sighed, pulling the little girl to her. Why did we leave home? She asked, wrapping her arms around her mom. It wasn't safe there anymore, so Mommy and Daddy took you away. So Alpha couldn't hurt you or us. She whispered into the girl's hair. Rose, we need to be careful, the dad whispered. I think we are close to the Glint Pack's territory, he mumbled. We don't want to mess with that pack. Maybe they wills take us in. The little girl jumped up in excitement. So then we protected twos. She smiled like she had came up with the best idea ever. My heart swelled for this family. Damn it. I decided to join their conversation. Jumping off the branch, I landed with a soft thud. Not such a bad idea, sweetie. I sighed. The dad instantly jumped up. A low, scratchy growl escaped his lips. His body was ridged. Down, doggy. I rolled my eyes. I won't hurt you unless you give me a reason to. He stopped growling, but he never relaxed. Put down your weapons, he demanded. I rolled my eyes. You crazy? I laughed. I've got so many weapons. Do you know how much work it would be to take them all off and then put them back on? I think not. I scoffed, putting the dagger I was holding back. Trespassing on Glint Pack territory, I mumbled. Considering you hold information that might be considered valuable, I'll be taking you back with me. Well, get you washed up, feed you, and find you the nicest cell possible. I crossed my arms and bit my lip. Why should we trust you? The woman shouted, clutching her young child in my hands. Well, you shouldn't. But hey, have it your way. I pulled out my gun and cocked it. Okay, they cried out. Both huddled around their child. Great, I smiled and shoved my gun back into its belt. Get your stuff together. We have nothing, the woman whispers, biting her lip, the way April used to bite hers. Great. Then I will escort you now. I shook my head towards the woods. They nodded in response. Silently, I began to lead them back to headquarters. We'll bath them and feed them before we imprison them. The sound of little footsteps made me turn around. The little girl now walked beside me. Damie, the mother cried out. No, I think this is best. I have your child, so don't think about running. I smirked and continued to walk through the trees. I felt a small tug on my arm. I glanced down at the little girl. Her green eyes stared back at me. Were you going to kill us? She asked. I noticed her front 2 teeth were missing. Maybe it was the green eyes that made me tell her the truth. They looked almost identical to my mates. This must have hit a soft spot. I stopped walking and smiled down at her. No, sweetie, my gun was on safety. I smiled and patted my gun. Her eyes widened as she realized I had tricked them. Wait a minute, the dad hisses. You mean to tell me we were tricked? I told you not to trust me, goodness. I shook my head and started walking again. This is what's wrong with the world. Tell a lie and they listen. Tell the truth and they hate you. Though I am the biggest lie this world has ever created. I'm a killer walking on land, breathing the same air as my victims once used to, and enjoying my life. When I ended theirs, we should have listened, the mom mumbled. Yeah, maybe you should have. I don't even trust myself. I am the biggest lie. Why on earth would you bring them to safety? Mom snapped, slamming the door behind us. The look of pure anger that my mom held when she saw the Rouges. Alive. I will never forget it. I'm just going to add that memory with all the others. They are a family, I mumbled. Also, something strange is happening, and I think they have the answers. Something strange? She threw her head back and laughed. We've always had Rouges, Callie. This is different. I know it is. I hiss, feeling tears sting at the back of my eyes. I don't cry, though. Crying isn't exactly my thing. No, the only thing different is that they're coming into our territory. Know what? I laughed, shaking my head. Fuck you. I hiss slowly. I pushed the door back open and exit the basement. I climbed the stairs, entered the hospital. It was time I got back to Isaiah. Callie, a nurse called. Can we talk? She jogged up to me, her short black curls bouncing as she made her way over to me. I sighed before nodding, taking a seat in an uncomfortable chair. I hate hospitals, they're too white. The smell of hand sanitizer and medicine gave me a headache. Was quiet and sleepy. Speaking of sleep, today is going to be fun. Absolutely no sleep. I mentally cried. Mentally crying is my thing. Go ahead, I mumbled, gesturing for her to talk. Nurse had pale skin and she looked a little flustered. I've never seen her in the hospital before, but she was a senior 2 years ago. I am assuming me being a speed demon is a shock to her. Started looking at the Rouges you brought in. She started taking a shaky breath. She kept blinking. Her brown eyes looked stressed. Okay? I think they were abused, she whispered, fiddling with her hands. Find out, watch them and take good care of them. Especially Jamie, I said, standing up. All of them, or just the girls? I asked. Just the girls. All right? I shook my head. I didn't have time to talk anymore. Hardly had any time to begin with anyways. We'll keep in touch, I said as I walked past her. It didn't take long for me to get to the Unban's house. I didn't shift this time. I needed to keep the clothes I managed to find. I walked up to the door, flipped the little angel. The key dropped into my hand. I unlocked the door and put the key back. I silently stepped back into the house and tiptoes up to April's old room. Turned the doorknob and opened the door. Where did you go? A deep voice growled from the corner of the room. I sighed, closing the door. I went out for a run, I said, walking over to the bed and taking a seat. Why? I couldn't sleep. This was true. I couldn't sleep. And technically I did go out for a run. Why didn't you come get me? He asked, pushing himself off the wall. I didn't want to wake you up. I watched as his figure approached me. I could make out the details on his face, the way his eyebrows were slightly fluffy, and his high cheekbones, his full lips, and his incredibly sharp jawline. I couldn't sleep either. Grabbed my hand, sparks ran up my arm and teased me. Oh. I shivered as his other hand wrapped around my hips and pulled me closer to him. You're more important than me? He whispered into my ear. Why? I asked, I closing my eyes, savoring this moment. Or my other half, Callie. He pulled away from my ear and rested his forehead on mine. You're the better me when I can't be good, he mumbled, placing a kiss on the spot his forehead once was pressed again. I bit my lip, feeling my heart speed up, then slow down a little. What if it's the other way around? I said, shaking my head. What if you're the better me when I can't be? I questioned, raising my eyebrows. I doubt it, he laughed, letting go of my hand. Come on now, we have school. He smiled, placing once again another kiss on my forehead. You signed up for school? I asked. Clear shock was evident in my voice. Yeah, he laughed, running his hand through his hair. I didn't get to finish my senior year, so I'm finishing it now. There's only a month or two left in this school year, I laughed. Never graduated. And I plan on graduating, he said, pointing his finger at me. Huh, okay. I giggled and cracked a small smile. I'm going to take a shower, I mumbled. I stumbled my way over to the bathroom, my eyelids heavy from the lack of sleep. I closed the door and made my way over to the shower. The Unbers had a unique taste in decorating their house. It was normal, but at the same time different. Their shower was an olive green with gold sprinkled here and there. The floor was a white marble tile, and their sink matched it. Gold cabinet knobs, gold toilet paper holder, gold shower rings, and a fluffy rug the same color as the walls. Different, but normal. Sighing, I stepped into their shower. The warm water relaxed my tense muscles. I quickly bathed using April's old shampoos. Once I was done with my shower, I grabbed a towel and wrapped it around my small frame. I stepped out of the bathroom and made my way over to the box where we had stuffed April's old clothes in. Found a black tank top and a dark purple V-neck shirt. I scoffed, remembering how much April had hated this shirt. It makes my boobs look big. She tugged at the V-neck. It's a good thing, darling. I rolled my eyes, shoving a Cheeto in my mouth. I don't like it, she huffed, spinning on her heel to face the mirror. At least it shows off your wicked curves, I noted. She nodded in response. That's the only thing I like about this damned shirt, she huffed before turning around and faced me. Purple isn't even my color, she sighed. A knock on the door made our heads snap towards her now open door. It's called knocking then waiting, April joked, rolling her eyes at Asher. Well, excuse me. He paused. His eyes roamed her body. At the time, I didn't put much thought into that. Not allowed to wear that shirt. Asher mumbled, eyes lingering on her body before making their way to her face. Why not? She asked, tilting her head. I said so. I don't need thirsty male wolves constantly drooling over my sister, he growled. Take it off. Fine, but only because I hate this shirt. I sighed and grabbed a pair of jeans to match the outfit. The signs were all there. April and Asher had never been true siblings. An obvious desire burned for each other. I stood up, dropping the towel. Isaac wasn't in the room. I guess he's eating breakfast. I grabbed my old undergarments and put them on. A low growl made me grab my clothes and cover my almost nude body. Beautiful. Isaac smirked at me. Why did you growl? I rolled my eyes, putting my jeans on. You covered everything up. Isaac's eyes traveled my body again. Get over yourself. I laughed, putting on the tank top and shirt. You have a beautiful body. He smirked, pushing himself off the doorframe. His tall-built figure was next to me in no time. He lightly trailed his fingers over my body as he walked around me, scrunched my nose and bit my lip as his fingers stopped, as did his body. I felt the warmth radiating off of his body on my back. I shivered slightly as his fingers went up and down my body. They reached my collarbone, lingering there before ever so lightly trailing down to the soft curve below my neck. He traced the gentle rise of hidden hills beneath my shirt, his touch light as a breeze over clover. They brushed over the area a few more times, before slipping down into my shirt and pulling the tank top up higher. Don't show yourself to anybody, he growled, stepping away from my tingly body. Cold air hit my back as he walked away from me. Did he really have to do that? How do you have a Corvette? I gasped as the garage door opened. I was the son of an Alpha and Luna for 17 years. He smirked, wrapping his arm around my waist, guiding me to the beautiful car. He opened the passenger door for me. I slid into the seat and smiled at Isaac in appreciation. Smiled back before closing the door, and I walking over to the driver's side. For some odd reason, I've always found sitting in somebody's car awkward. It's not my car. Like, what if I did something wrong? What if I'm not sitting right? Will we talk? I could see it now. An awkward car ride with my mate. April and Asher made it seem so easy. Isaac opened his door and slid in. I watched as he turned the car on, put the car out of park and started to drive. The power in this car was purely amazing. I couldn't help the smile that spread across my lips. Isaac glanced at me and started laughing. A dimple creased his right cheek. You're so cute. He shook his head before sliding one of his hand off the steering wheel and placing it on my thigh. Instinctively, I grabbed his hand and started playing with his hand. What are we? I asked without thinking. My eyes grew wide and I paused. We're mates. You're my girlfriend, and soon I will make you my wife. His big hand squeezed my little one. It was strange having Isaac hate me, and now we sit here holding hands. I didn't even think about April. What about April? I asked, crinkling my nose. I want to tell her in person. He mumbled, then glanced at me. Don't tell her. He squinted, slight humor laced his voice. Fine, I rolled my eyes, but smiled. So girlfriend, huh? I sighed, tracing the top of his hand with my fingers. Yeah, you never asked me. I rolled my eyes and poked his arm. Do I really have to ask? He tossed me a look, turning into the school's parking lot. Yeah, will you be my girlfriend? He parked and turned to face me. I tapped my chin and acted like I was contemplating. Yes? Isaac nudged my leg. I guess so. You're kinda hot, so that's a plus for me. I shrugged. I looked at Isaac's face and busted out into a belly-clenching laugh. You look constipated. I busted out into another fit of laughter. I'm going to hold my breath until you say yes, he growled, then took a deep breath. I watched for a minute before he started turning red. Are you serious? I asked, unbuckling my seatbelt and taped his face. He nodded. His face officially looked like a tomato. Yes, I'll date you. I poked his face again. This time he exhaled and started breathing again. You were gonna let me die. He glared at me. You know how to breathe, I glared back at him. I wasn't going to let you die. He smirked at me before turning his car off, and getting out, he walked to my side of the car and opened the door like a gentleman. Thank you, honey. He chuckled before closing my door and locking his car. He grabbed my hand, intertwining our fingers. Watched as people turned their heads. All eyes were on us. I spotted my little ragtag circle and joined them. It was just Dallas and Sam, though Grant had seemed to join them. Whoa, Sam said, her eyes falling to our interlocked hands. Didn't see this one coming, Dallas laughed, shaking his head. Bates? Grant asked, joining our conversation. Yes, Isaac said blankly, squeezing my hand. Don't be such a stick, Isaac. I rolled my eyes and squeezed his hand back. Sam smirked at me, her frizzy blonde hair sticking up. Sam was beautiful. She could make people feel self-conscious with just one smile. Dallas has dark chestnut hair, whereas Sam has a dirty blonde type color. Both of the Joyner twins look alike with the bone structure of their face. Their eyes are the same brown color, a honey yellow to be exact. Isaac's finger rubbed the back of my hand, sending sparks over my skin. Bell rang, sending a chorus of moans and groans throughout the parking lot. School time, Samantha smirked, looping arms with her brother. Grant trailed behind them. I need to get my schedule. I called in a couple days ago and they said they would get my schedule ready. Isaac smirked, tugging me to the front office. I was surprised Isaac knew where the office was, considering he was new. Let Isaac pull me to the office. I glared at anybody who looked at us weirdly. I didn't bear Isaac's mark. Therefore, as far as anybody knows, I'm just a fling. You need to mark me soon, I mumbled to Isaac, feeling his body tense up. Would let me? He tossed me a look of surprise. Of course I would. You're my forever, right? I asked. A small smile played on my lips. April used to say that. When we were younger, we started calling our future mates our forever. Of course I am. Isaac smiled a full-blown smile. I'll always be your forever, Callie. I had science and gym with Isaac. He claimed that he never took a P biology, so he was put into the boring class. We only had a month left before school was out. I was an all-A student, and I would be graduating early. April and I had worked incredibly hard to be where we are now. She was my study buddy, and most night we would work till 3 a.m. School came more natural to her than me. Oh, I work hard and put my effort into it. Everything I have, I've worked for. Gym was the only class I had to slack in. I, personally, would finish the 10-mile run in a mere minute. The sports, all I have to do is look like I'm struggling, but really, I'm the best in class, no doubt about it. The only speed demon that can give me a run for my money is Miley is the luminescent pack. Even she couldn't beat me. I'm friends with Miley, we don't hang out, but I don't mind her. Going from class to class was boring. I missed April, who had almost every class with me. School dragged on. Until lunch, Isaac sat next to me at our group's table. He munched on his salad, while I munched on a cheeseburger. Why did you get a salad? I asked, glancing at the leafy greens. He glanced up. His green eyes sparkled ever so slightly. I always eat meat. He tossed me a perfect smile. Literally nothing was stuck in between his teeth. We're wolves. I rolled my eyes, taking another bite. We eat meat. Just because meat is important doesn't mean I can't have a salad every once in a while. I glanced at him with suspicion. They ran out of cheeseburgers, didn't they? Lactose intolerant, he moaned, putting his fork down. I laughed, feeling my cheeks light up at his answer. Isaiah, I laughed, my nose crinkling up. Oh man, the only thing besides a salad was pizza, which is worse than a cheeseburger, he sighed, taking a sip of his water. They usually have just burgers, I sighed, rubbing his back as he glared at the salad. Not today. He shrugged my hand off and started eating again. I felt a frown touch my lips at this movement. He glanced at me before signing. Eat, Callie. You need to. He smiled before leaning over and pecking my lips. Aw, so cute, Samantha yelled. Both Dallas and Grant gauged. We got rid of one couple, and now we have a new one. She looked up and raised her eyebrow. Oh joy, you're next, I pointed out, remembering what Asher had said when I had spent the night while April's parents were out picking up Asher's real parents. No, both Dallas and Sam rolled their eyes. I'm good for about another month. Grant smirked, running a hand through his black hair. Poor soul, she better run now, I smirked, crossing my arms. Isaac watched and listened. He wasn't much of a talker. The bell rang, signaling for all of us to get back to class. We groaned, but did what the bell told us to. I had Spanish 3 and then gym. I enjoy gym, but I hate it at the same time. I would enjoy it if I could show just how good I actually am, but I can't. I personally hate Spanish. I have nothing against them, just their language. I'm actually fluent in Spanish, and French, and German. It's required to know, just in case we come across Rouges who don't speak this language. Trespassed. Grasped Isaac's hand in mine. He gave it a little squeeze. We'll see you two later, Sam called, waving at me. I waved back, tossed her a smile. You're beautiful, Cal, Isaac whispered, kissing my cheek. I'm so happy you decide not to hate me. I chuckled. My chest clenched. He would hate me after he found out what I was. You have to tell him. Eventually, I will tell him. He will know everything when the time comes. Till then, it will be my little secret. Didn't hate you. I was just frustrated. He sighed, his finger rubbing the back of my hand. I know. Guess I can't hold it against you. I shrugged and tossed him a little smile. I have Spanish. I changed the subject. The hallways were crowded and it started to get warm. Our book bags slung on one shoulder. Okay. He walked me to my Spanish class. I didn't want to let him go. I wanted to be with him. I wanted to be in all of his classes. I couldn't bear to watch him walk away. Bye, Cal. He leaned down to peck my lips. His lips melted to mine in a warm, perfect way. With a smirk, I called him by his real name. He blushed a little before leaving. Yes, because we all loved watching you cadoodle with your boyfriend. The teacher called from her desk when I walked into the classroom. Don't be mean just because you can't get one, I snapped before finding my seat. I'm married, she snapped back, pointing to her ring. I said you couldn't get a boyfriend, not a husband. I smirked before getting out my notebook. I heard the other kids snicker and giggle at my comment. I was a smartass, no doubt about it. Believe it or not, I actually like Mrs. Camber. After that class, I had gym. With Isaac. I was a little disappointed. I faked gym. He's going to think I'm some wimp. Maybe I can. Not fake it? I'm sure the gym teacher will be upset with me, considering she's a speed demon trainer. You're forced to suck in gym. I don't understand why we can't just fake being average. Why couldn't we fake being average? I walk into the hallway, also known as the black hole, or traffic. Never go the opposite way of the traffic. You'll die, no doubt. I followed the flow until hot hands wrapped around my waist. Soft lips landed on my cheek. Isaiah, I whispered, feeling tingles spread throughout my entire body. Missed you, I whispered, wrapping his arm around my waist and guided me to gym. I didn't need to be guided. I know where the gym is, but I let him. I missed you too, I laughed. This was true. I missed him. My thoughts constantly wandering off to our lips pressed together, his hand in my hand, his green eyes that I could stare into for the rest of my life. I finally understood how hard it was for April and Asher. Though it was only for a week, they had managed to fool the entire pack. The mate bound had formed early for them, considering they lived with each other for 16 years. Their wolves didn't have to become restless in attempt to find each other. It had all just clicked, or should I say, snapped.